Hello y'all, this is the multiplayer custom scenario King Arthur, the Deadly Embrace by Niles and JW5787 Rook. It takes place in Arthurian legend with King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table, fighting against Mordred, Morgan Le Fay, and the Anglo-Saxons. There is some more relatively modern characters involved as well, like Prince Valiant. Blue, green, teal, and purple are all on one team, and so is yellow and red. Gray wins alone, but orange can either join King Arthur or try to be victorious on his own. Blue is King Arthur, red is Mordred, green Merlin, yellow Morgan Le Fay, teal Gawain, purple Galahad, gray Anglo-Saxons, and orange Lancelot. Now into the game. Blue, teal, and purple meet on the battlefield against red. There are many knights in the round table here, such as Sir Bors and Sir Bedivere, but the captain of the Black Guard, Red's commander, is leaving. Guinevere is returning back to Camelot, and with her return, King Arthur and Lancelot will be allies once again. The battle is not won by King Arthur's knights, with Sir Garrett and Sir Percival retreating, but Sir Bedivere is killed in the battle, with the arrival of Mordred and his captain of the Black Guard completely destroying him. Galahad and Gawain welcome the survivors back across the southern bridge as they prepare for a defense. Lancelot acquires the support of Robin Hood, Little John, and his merry band of men, but oddly enough, some of his gold is missing. Prince Valiant joins the cause of King Arthur and will aid him in all of his battles to come. The Anglo-Saxon army destroys Robin Hood's forest camp. Orange was unable to get the relic in time before the attack. After probing some of the bridge defenses, Red begins assembling an army at the southern bridge. Prince Valiant and some knights of the Round Table break through Mordred's weak palisades at the northern bridge, passing into his territory. The knights set about to raiding his economy to prevent him from making a bigger army. King Arthur's cavalry begins to withdraw when they come into contact with Mordred and his fallen knights. Mordred assaults the northern bridge defenses belonging to the Arthurian forces, but seems to not be breaking through due to the sheer amount of soldiers there. He does build palisades to prevent any further raids on his economy. Yellow Morgan Le Fay begins gathering necromancers to her calls. Red has built a good amount of defenses to prevent any more incursions into his lands, and has even set up a choke point at the gate. Merlin successfully converts an assassin from Mordred, which are hard-hitting, fast units. Lancelot has amassed a gigantic army to help defend against any incoming sieges at Bamberg. Just one assassin is enough to intimidate all of King Arthur's villagers, forcing them to take refuge in the town center. Sir Kay upgrades the Knights of the Round Table's armor by going to the blacksmith here. A charge by Blue is called off at the southern bridge after seeing Red's army. Gray attacks the northern area outside of Bamberg and is gathering his forces to assault the castle. Red's monks and Morgan Le Fay completes a ritual, making Mordred into unholy Mordred, making him far more powerful. The first siege of Bamberg is a victory for Orange, who sallies out with Lancelot to take down any Grey resistance. The Black Knight, a mighty Python fame maybe, joins Red. Yellow's necromancers break a hole in Teal's northern palisades. The situation at the northern bridge is rescued by Galahad and Gawain's knights. Galahad and King Arthur's forces harass some of Grey's stables across the southern bridge. Fierce fighting takes place in the north, with the arrival of Red's army once again attacking the defenses. Gawain's knights have snuck into Morgan Le Fay's base, attacking her economy. They were just wreaking havoc, killing villagers and destroying any resource gathering buildings they can. Mordred himself falls back from the northern bridge here, and you can see the strength and power, how strong he is against any attack. The second siege of Bamberg occurs. The Anglo-Saxons have brought a humongous army consisting of rams, crossbowmen, and knights. Blue and Teal's knights link up, now eradicating Mordred's economy. By getting enough kills, Saxon berserkers have joined the Anglo-Saxon cause. Lancelot, with some help from Merlin, forces Grey to retreat from Bamberg, winning the second siege. King Arthur gets the sword Excalibur from the lake, making him much stronger. Green continues to add to the defenses of Bamberg, bringing knights and magical wolves. Mordred and Yellow push back the Arthurian raiders that were attacking their land. Mordred's army of conscripts and Anglo-Saxon pikemen are at peace, proving that they are allies. Red gets Fort Rook and Captain Knox in the center of the map, bringing him to his side. The magic wolves prove to be quite deadly, taking out a patrol of Saxon raiders and a Saxon warrior with them. Mordred hires a band of cutthroats whilst under attack by a group of wolves that are dealt with by the bandits. Red builds a strong onager to shatter any defenses in his way. King Arthur and Galahad charge across the northern bridge, taking out a few of the defenses, but are forced to move away from the crossbowmen defending the pass. Windmills and huts fall victim to the Knights of the Round Table. Red and Grey are focusing their army at the southern crossing. The siege onager Mordred built barely comes into use, coming under attack from Galahad's Grail Knights, which almost transform it into a pile of junk. The battle at the southern bridge has begun. Red finds the Lost Legion, who quickly choose to join him. Morgan Le Fay uses a spell to tear the Arthurian defenses in the south asunder, letting the army of Mordred cross with barely a fight. The bulk of the Arthurian forces had stood back from the spell that tore the fortifications apart, and are now swooping in as a group to drive back Mordred, even as Morgan Le Fay delivers a weakening spell. The third siege of Bamberg takes place, which is met with a little bit more success for the Anglo-Saxons, with Morgan Le Fay's spell delivering collateral damage to Lancelot's army of longbowmen. Galahad charges his knights into northern Avalon, attacking the market there. The only one there to meet him is some of Morgan Le Fay's skeleton warrior Huscarls. Red is now on defense, with Gawain and King Arthur attacking some of the Lost Legionnaires, as well as the Saxon berserkers sent to aid them. A lot of barracks are put to the torch. The Anglo-Saxons are the only ones making a huge effort to stop the Arthurian push right now, but even they are having trouble, losing several knights to pikemen at the southern crossing. Gawain's noble knights arrive in northern Avalon to support whatever remains of Galahad's force there. The only thing that stops Gawain's forces from crossing into Avalon proper is a barrier on the bridge consisting of the Green Knight, Mordred, and some Lost Legionnaires. The situation at the southern bridge has become a stalemate between the Arthurian forces who hold the one side and the Anglo-Saxons who hold the other. By getting even more kills, the Saxon king recruits Gumblegorf the Giant and a group of barbarian warriors. Faru Gor the Terror, a tyrant dragon, yes I know he's an elephant, but use your own imagination, and his minions join Morgan Le Fay. In response to these actions, Prince Valiant recruits the Dragon Slayer. Green and Purple destroy the settlement that Grey had built across the southern bridge. The Dragon Slayer and Faru Gor the Terror do battle. The Dragon Slayer heavily damages Faru Gor, enough so that he may be killed. With Faru Gor's death, Morgan Le Fay loses a key asset to her efforts to destroying King Arthur. The Anglo-Saxon barbarian warriors and Mordred's conscripts defeat the raiding forces outside of northern Avalon. King Arthur disbands the Knights of the Round Table, choosing to have any knight come to his aid. These are the Knights of Camelot. Using the dragon scales, the Dragon Slayer outfits a few of the Arthurian warriors with the new experimental armor, creating the Dragon Knights. Orange and Teal attacked Fort Rook, but due to the terrain and the presence of some Saxon berserkers who have come to reinforce the castle, it is very difficult for them to make a push. A small group of Red's units are sandwiched between King Arthur and Merlin's army. King Arthur's cavalry passing by Avalon runs the gauntlet of being hit by arrow fire or shot from mangonels. Gumblegorf and some Anglo-Saxon barbarian warriors sneak in through the northern crossing and straight into Galahad's base. Mordred sacrifices some villagers to strengthen the castle of Avalon. Merlin's magical wolves attack a isolated Anglo-Saxon town center. Some of King Arthur's cavalry outside of the Saxon camp are withdrawing after running into a mass of pikemen. Galahad has begun building military buildings outside of northern Avalon for a possible siege. More brutal fighting takes place at Fort Rook, with a contingent of Anglo-Saxon pikemen attempting to stop Merlin and Lancelot's army from destroying the castle. Some Teal Knights and Noble Knights join the battle, but it looks to already be won by Merlin and Lancelot, who destroy the fort. The victorious Arthurian forces push further to the east, taking out some Saxon warriors and some red lumberjacks. Mordred does a sneaky offensive into Teal's base, but it is stopped by a huge group of Arthur's crossbowmen. King Arthur and Galahad settle at the bridge across from Avalon and its castle and prepare for a siege. Merlin finds some lost warrior monks and an old man who quickly join him. Big battle outside of the Saxon base between between Lancelot's longbowmen with Merlin's knights supporting him against an entirely Anglo-Saxon army who seem to be gaining an upper hand because they have knights, skirmishers, and pikes. A small red group of soldiers cross the Northern Avalon Bridge, but they are too weak and are overwhelmed by the huge amount of knights there. Morgan Le Fay cast a powerful spell eradicating the entire army of Lancelot's longbowmen except for Robin Hood. With red pinned down in Avalon, yellow's base makes for an easy target, which purple exploits greatly. In yet another siege for Bamberg, I'm just going to stop counting them now, Merlin rescues the castle from the Anglo-Saxon knights. Galahad helps out as well. Arthurian forces are occupied elsewhere, which allows Grey to cross the southern bridge with a humongous army of knights. Grey arrives to his destination with Gummelgorf the Giant leading the charge into Camelot. Blue notices and quickly attempts to fortify, but most of the knights are able to make it past the defenses. The army of the Saxons is defeated, but King Arthur falls in battle against Gummelgorf the Giant. This is a major setback for the Arthurian forces, and a step closer for red and yellow's victory. Galahad and Merlin's knights move to the extreme south of the map seeking the Holy Grail, which is guarded by bandit rangers and phantom knights. Galahad succeeds in the quest, strengthening himself and the Grail Knights. Blue and teal try to push into Avalon from the north, but it is heavily guarded by mangonels, towers, and ballistas. At the center of the map, purple skirmishes with red and gray. The thick wooded area makes it difficult for the knights to maneuver, so they make for easy targets by red's archers. Merlin's magical wolves harass red's gate, which is quite difficult to defend from as they have to manually attack each wolf. Using their power, Morgan Le Fay and Mordred open up the gates of hell, allowing for Hell's Centurion, who has 1,666 health, to enter the world. Hell's Legionnaires come with him, who have fittingly 666 HP. Saxon warriors attack Teal's knights, who were attempting to assemble with the rest of the Arthurian forces. Mordred's army returns to the southern crossing, charging across to meet Galahad's foursome knights. Teal and green ambush Mordred and Morgan Le Fay coming out of the southern mountain passes. Mordred's escort is bolstered by the Hell's Legionnaires and some Anglo-Saxon pikemen coming from behind to sandwich the ambushers. The ambush sadly ends in failure for green and teal. Blue raids Avalon using the hole in the gate that was destroyed by Merlin's magical wolves earlier. The very well-armored Grail Guard takes some time to be killed by Grey's pikemen. Sir Galahad falls in battle against a resurgent Grey and Red. Blue has created a choke point in the mountains to the south, making Grey's life even more painful. Due to Galahad's death, Purple has been defeated, leaving his land and possessions by Blue. But the stalemate at Avalon is broken with the arrival of Grey's army of knights. Gawain is killed, leading to Teal's defeat, leaving only Blue, Green, and Orange to fight Red, Yellow, and Grey. Due to Blue's collapsing team, Yellow's skeleton warriors and Grey's knights retake the land outside of northern Avalon. The southern bridge is at the heart of another battle. Merlin has acquired some stone golems, and Mordred and his Hell's Legionnaires have charged straight into the defending forces. Mordred is trapped between a rock and a hard place, and he will fall, actually. He will be killed here, most likely. And that's going to be, and that's it for Mordred. He has been defeated. Red is not out of the game because of this, but it does provide a win condition for the Arthurian team. Camelot once again comes under a siege by Red and Yellow this time. Merlin is nearly killed by Hell's Centurion, but comes out victorious. Camelot falls, and Guinevere is killed in the fighting. There is only one more victory condition for Red and Yellow, and that is to kill Merlin. Merlin retreats into Orange's base at the fortress of Bamberg. Pursuing the wizard, Red and Yellow attack the city from the west. Bamberg is attacked from within and outside, with the sighting of an amassing army of Anglo-Saxons. Blue has one last hurrah, attacking some of Red's legionnaires crossing at the south. Bamberg has survived yet another storm of swords, so to speak. Blue and green counterattack the siege workshops outside of Bamberg that the Anglo-Saxon has built, and what is this? Merlin dies, which will allow Red and Yellow to win. That will be the end of this game Unfortunately, it was very entertaining to watch. If you want to try out the scenario, the link is in the description. Just remember that it is multiplayer. And if you enjoyed the video, please share, like, subscribe, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to leave a comment.